In the name of Lord Jesus Christ, we shall continue to study from the book of Joshua. Let's turn to Joshua chapter 1. Joshua chapter 1. Joshua chapter 1, verse 16. Verse 16. So they answered Joshua, saying, "All that you command us, we will do, and wherever you send us, we will go. Just as we hind Moses in all things, so we will hind you. Only the Lord your God be with you, as he was with Moses. Whoever rebel against you, against your command, and does not heed your words, in all that you command him, shall be put to death. Only be strong and of good courage." So in chapter 1, the theme or the topic is to be strong and of good courage. As we say that we found four times in chapter 1, 4 times that the Bible say be strong and of good courage. But the first 3 times were from God, and the last time were from the people of Israel. As we mentioned from the beginning, Joshua was afraid. Joshua was afraid. Why? Because Moses was so powerful. Moses was such an iconic worker. He was like God in the eyes of Israel. But now, you need to replace this amazing worker. As a young Joshua, now you need to step up. Yeah, you need to take over the baton. You need to be the one. But it's inevitable. It is inevitable that people compare you with Moses. It is inevitable. People will say, "Oh, but Moses did this. Moses said that. Moses is able to do this. Moses can do that. How come you cannot?" You know what? A lot of times, it's this kind of fear. Fear that you might not be able to do a good job. Fear that people will compare you with Moses and you will not live up to their standard. That's the fear of Joshua. But as we mentioned in the last class, that 3 times the Lord said to Joshua, "Be strong and of good courage." If you believe in the promise of the Lord, if you abide by the teaching of the Lord, if you are able to see that the Lord stand next to you, if you are able to have all these 3, then you can be strong and courageous. Okay, so that's what we mentioned in the previous class. However, the last one was not from God. The last one were from the people that he was afraid of. He was afraid that people who listen to Moses will not listen to him. People who used to look up to Moses compare him with Moses and say, "Who do you think you are? Why do we need to listen to you? You are not Moses," right? But at the end, what we found is when God is there by your side, then people or men will naturally come to your aid. A lot of times we worry too much. We worry too much and we are afraid too much. We always come up with a lot of scenario. What if? What if? We worry that if I do this, what will happen? If I do that, what will happen? We have a lot of what if. What if? A lot of worries. But in here, the Bible reminded us that if you do the right thing when you have God by your side, then the so-called worry, your fear of man will naturally be resolved. Naturally be resolved. Okay. A few days ago, in one of the sharing, I believe it's Pastor Samuel. In the Bible, in the prayer session, he mentioned about if you are freshman in college, talk to your roommate about prayer. Don't be afraid. I totally concur with that. The longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes. Seriously. The longer you wait, the more difficult for you to speak up about your faith. For you to speak up about your faith. You have to wait and wait and wait until the roommate move out and someone new coming, and maybe you can talk. Or I guess in this generation, you just try to find a TJC roommate. I mean, finding a TJC roommate is good because now you share the same value, you have the same faith, you are able to keep each other in check. However, there are pros and cons. Having a TJC roommate make your spiritual cultivation life easier, but at the same time, it deprives you, take away from you the opportunity to face the challenge. Some of you probably heard this before. When I got into college, the first year we have to stay in the dormitory. It's a requirement. That's how school make money out of the freshmen. All right? You live in the school dormitory, so I was assigned with one room with 2 persons. Just one studio, because it's all the bathrooms are in the hallways. So it's just a studio with 2 beds, 2 tables, 2 beds, 2 desks, and for 2 persons. I cannot find a TJC roommate. No, I do have TJC member in my school, but they wouldn't dorm with me. Why? Ask your dad. Gabriel, his dad and we were in the same school. And he wouldn't dorm with me. No, because when I entered the school, Gabriel's dad is the last year, the 4th year. So he was not living in the dormitory. He was living outside. So of course, no roommate. So it's a random selection by the school. And the first day I entered into my dorm, I was in shock. My roommate is a Hungarian American, about this tall, and 260 pounds. Still remember. When you bump into him, it's like you're bumping into a wall. It's big. I was like, wow. Yeah, very tall. 6 foot. 260 pounds. Very big. But very mellow. Very mellow. A very gentle guy. Because the first day I saw him, he was wiping his desk, and his mother was wiping my desk. I cleaned my side of the room. Yeah. I was like, oh, how nice. And you know what? Throughout the year, I dormed with him for 1 year. And in that 1 year, a lot of times, his mother will bring food. And it's always one for him, one for me. Very nice. Very nice. So I decided to share with him when I bring back the chicken leg, like a chicken claw, those kind of things. He's like, oh no, thank you. So that's my roommate. And the first day after his family left, and we sit down, and I decide I want to make things easy. So I went to him and said, sit down. Nicely. Remember, he was 260 pounds. 260 pounds. So I talk very nice. All right, talk very nice. First of all, I asked him, why do you need a baseball bat by the door? He has a baseball bat by the door. I was like, why do you need that? Now I begin by I say, you know what, sit down. I want to share with you. I want to talk to you about my faith and the way I pray. And he was like, oh, no worry, I respect. I said, I pray in tongues. No worry, I respect all the religion. So nice. And I say to him, we will see about that tonight. Yep. So at that time in Queen's Church, in the youth class in Queen's Church, every night we pray from 10:30 to 11. Doesn't matter where you are. 10:30 to 11 is the prayer time. So by 10:30, I look at him. He was on his bed, comfortably, comfy in his bed. He was watching Beavis and South Park. He was watching South Park. I was like, ready? Yeah. So I just kneel down. I told you already. I pray and the sound is different and it's a bit loud. I told you up front. And you say no problem, right? So I kneel down, I pray, I can. The moment I start praying, I heard a loud thud, like someone lean against the wall. All right, so I knew he was just in shock and lean backwards. But I told you already, I told you up front. And afterward, I look at him. After 30 minutes, I got up and I look at him. He's like, I was like, hey. But the funny thing is, after that, every night, almost every single night, around 10:25, he will get up and say, I go for a hot dog, you want it? Because we have to walk about 25 minutes to get to 7-Eleven for the hot dog. So he always get up and say, chili dog, you want it? I was like, no, thank you. So every night, he walked 25 minutes for hot dog and then walk another 25 minutes. Sometimes it was heavy snowing. We are in the East Coast. And he got up and said, chili dog? I was like, no, it's like 3 feet of snow out there. Yeah, I know he was not comfortable. But I told him up front. So he respect and he lived with it. But it makes everything much easier when you just step forward and say, this is my faith. So it'll be much easier. Right? So a lot of times we are afraid. We are terrified by the what if, by all the scenario that we play in our mind. What happens if people will not listen to me? What happens if I cannot earn their respect? What happens if there's a mutiny? What happens if they always compare me with Moses? You have a lot of what if. And can those turn into reality? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. If God is not on your side. If God is not on your side, all your nightmare can turn into reality. But when God is on your side, here's this. For those people that Joshua was afraid of, they came up and say, be strong, be courageous. We will listen to you as we listen to Moses. And let me assure you, if anyone who disobey you, we kill them. Problem solved. Problem solved. When you have God on your side, all your worries, all your fear, all the nightmares, it will also be solved just like that. When you are able to reconcile with God, then naturally you will be able to reconcile with men. Okay? So that's what we found. So do not, a lot of times, 我们自己吓自己, like we scare ourselves off. Something never happened, but we keep on saying, no, it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad. And eventually we just run away. Even there's nothing. Even nothing happened. Just like you look at the truth seeker. No, he looks so mean. No, if I preach to him, he will yell at me. He will turn ugly, and he will be a dead you will be a dead silence. I will embarrass my. When you create a lot of those scenarios in your mind, and you do not turn to God for help, you do run away. You do. You get defeated. You run away because all those nightmares might come true. But if you are like Joshua, hey, the Lord say, be strong and courageous, for I am with you. I'm with you. And the Lord say to Joshua, in the entirety of your life, there's no one that can stand against you. No one can stand against you. That's the promise of the Lord. So when you have that assurance, then you will see how people come and reconcile with you. All the nightmare, you can toss it away because now you see the Lord. Okay? You are able to see God above the reality. Okay? So that's in chapter 1. But there's another thing that in chapter 1 we want to touch upon. Let's go to chapter 1, verse 12. Here is another instruction. And also, one of the reasons that Joshua was afraid. In chapter 1, verse 12. And to the Reubenite, the Gittites, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. Joshua spoke, saying, 13, remember the word which Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded you, saying, the Lord your God is giving you rest, and is giving you this land. Your wife, your little ones, and your livestock shall remain in the land which Moses gave you on this side of Jordan. But you shall pass before your brother, armed with all your mighty men of valor, and help them. Okay? Again, this is another reason why Joshua was afraid. He was given a very difficult task. The task is very easy for Moses, because Moses was the man, the iconic man, the man of authority. Let's put it this way, Moses was the boss. So everybody respect him, everybody afraid of him. Moses was the boss. In Numbers chapter 32, the recording in here, you can refer to Numbers chapter 32. In Numbers chapter 32, after they defeat the two kings on the east of Jordan. So, the promised land. So here is the land of Canaan. And as they came up, they make a big detour. So the Israel came up from this way. So now they are by the Jordan River. And here is the east. Moses led them toward the west. Okay. So originally, this is what Moses were leading them to, the west. Why? Because of Jordan River. Right? So crossing the Jordan River, enter into the land of Canaan. Here, this is the promise. However, after the war and defeat the two kings in the east of Jordan, Moab, right? And then 2.5 tribes say to Moses, why don't we stay in here? Why? Because the land is good. The land in the east of Jordan is a fertile land, very rich, and it's called Jordan Plain, the plain of Jordan. So the land here is nice. So the 2.5 tribes say to Moses, can we have this? And Moses got very angry. Moses is like, why are you so selfish? How dare you? Because remember, Moses is the big guy, the boss, the man of authority, with the wielding. So he said to these people, what's wrong with you? How dare you? How dare you to leave your brother alone? How dare you to abandon them? Okay? So the 2.5 tribes say to Moses, no. We like this land. So we will build cities, build fences, so that our wife and children, they stay here. And we, the men, we will go and fight. We will go and fight with the rest of our brother. Then Moses say, fine. Right? So that's the whole drama. That's the whole story. And that was in Numbers chapter 32. Now there's a problem. It was a promise that they made to Moses. Yeah, our men, we will fight with our brothers in the land of Canaan. No worry, we will go before them. We will arm, we will fight, we will kill, and we will not go home until our brother also receive the land. That's what they promised. But they promised to Moses. And now, apparently that Moses died. Which means that no one is there to execute. No one is there to enforce that promise. Except the young Joshua. The young Joshua, can you imagine the first job you need to do is go to these tribal leaders. Right? You need to go to them and say, excuse me, as far as I remember, because at that time, Joshua was like the secretary for Moses. So you are just like, secretary. So now Joshua is a new leader, but young, dealing with the old tribal heads. He need to go up and say, That promise you say, you're a man of valor, you are supposed to fight. For Joshua, it was difficult. Because the 2.5 tribes might say, we don't think so. The promise is made to Moses, and only Moses got the authority. Only Moses was powerful enough to force them to abide by it. But now Joshua, young man. So Joshua was dealing with these difficulties by approaching them and say, the 2.5 tribes, and say that, do you remember you made a promise to the men of God? You say you will fight. So that was difficult. But thank God, as we said earlier, because God was with Joshua. So this man, did you see what they say? They say that if you look at what they say to Joshua, in verse 17, only the Lord your God be with you as he was with Moses. They need to see what? They will only listen to Joshua. They will only enforce the promise if they are able to see that God abide with Joshua as God abide with Moses. And they saw it. And they saw it. So when Joshua came up and said, this is what you promised. And because God was with Joshua, from the first time, the second time, the third time, I shall be with you, be strong and courageous. So Joshua went to them and said, do you remember? And they saw the Lord's abidance in Joshua and say, we will listen to you as we listen to Moses. Anyone who disagrees with you, we will kill them for you. Because they saw God abide with Joshua. Okay, but now in here, we want to touch a little bit about these 2.5 tribes. Their choice, the choice that they made. The 2.5 tribes, they choose to be on the east side. The 2.5 tribes, they choose to be on the east side of Jordan River, while the remaining, everyone else, they were in the land of Canaan. The choice was genuine. Genuine means they only want something good for their family. They only want something good for their children. When they stay on the east of Jordan, it's not like they want to be It's not like they want to be Moabite. It's not like they want to worship the idols. It's not like they want to cut off from the people of Israel. No, just because the land is good. And can you imagine when you have 2.5 tribes say to them, hey, we stay in here, so everybody got more rooms. Right? Having 12, everybody in here, versus 2.5 in here, and 9.5 in here. Everybody got more rooms, isn't it? So they say to Moses, hey, how about that? We stay here. We will fight with you, but my family stay here. It was a genuine request. Just like today, many of you make your life decision upon something that seems to be the best choice. Your major, or the school you attend, your major, your future career, where you will stay, where you will buy house, who you will marry to. A lot of times we make all those decisions by calculation, evaluation, analyzing the pros and cons, and we pick whatever we think is the best. They did the same. The 2.5 tribes did the same. The land is good, so why not? The land is empty, so why don't we take it? Everybody got more rooms, perfect for you and I. So it come out to be a win-win situation, right? According to human evaluation, there is only one thing. There is only one thing that they did not calculate. There is a reason. There is a reason that Moses led them all the way here and asked them to cross Jordan River and to enter this small, actually it's pretty small piece of land. What is the reason? The reason is Jordan River. Jordan River, River Jordan. Here, this river serves as the natural barrier protection. Let's put it this way. If God did not divide Jordan, then we can very much say there's no way for them to cross the river and conquer the land. You can. Back then, there's no such a technology, no bridge, no boat big enough. Okay? So, unable to cross the river, serving as a natural protection, natural barrier, is why the Lord say here. Of course, the entire promised land is way bigger than this. If you have the chance, you check upon the promised land to Moses, to Abraham, to Moses, you will find out that it's actually pretty different. The real complete promised land is way bigger than this part. Way bigger. Way, way bigger. And probably only happen or close to happen in the time of David. Time of David, maybe Solomon, mainly time of David, when all the Arabic country, the Bible says that all the Arabic country pay tribute to him, subject unto his military power. So the promised land the real promised land is way bigger, but at this time, they can only afford to take this part because they are weak. And they still rely on Jordan River to protect them. So when they make a choice, when the 2.5 tribes made a choice in here to stay in the east, it was a genuine, out of good intention choice, but the choice ruined the possibility for the future. Why? So when they went now, the wife, the children stayed. They built cities, they built walls, they built fences. So the wife and children, they stay in the east, while the men went and fought in the west. You might think that solved the problem. Did not. Why? Because the next generation, they grew up without experiencing the power of the Lord. The next generation, they grew up without seeing the miracle about conquering the land. How they defeat the city of Jericho, how Joshua prayed, and then the sun and the moon stopped. They never get to see it. Why? From the selfishness of the father. Too well protected. Too well protected. Just like today. You know that we have SSC, right? Before you come here, I'm not sure if any of your parents are extremely anxious and worried. Maybe some of them. What happens if you catch COVID in the NYTS? Come on, you catch COVID just by touching the table from somewhere on the bus. Nowadays, you just don't know. You can get it anyway. But is it a valid concern? Yeah, because this is a large group living together. Yes. You know that some of your parents might be very worried. They might want to talk to you and maybe just do it online. You know, like all those kind of things. They want to protect you out of good heart. But of course, thank God, eventually they still let you come. They let you come. Wow. So, for you to come, for you to be here, for you to pray with 100 people, it is a new experience for many of you. Because of the past 2 years, the COVID. It was online for 2 years. Something that troubles us a lot is that in here, most of you, some of you are third year in NYTS and first time in person. I shall say that other than the fourth year, nobody ever do it in person. Nobody. Which means that in this time, 80 of you, only 10 ever been in person. So for you, this is a new experience and very, very experience, I hope. I hope come here, living in the same place, lodging in the same place, praying together, having an in-person, it make a great differences in your experience of NYTS. However, crossing Jordan, enter into Canaan, they do have risk involved. But if you don't do it, you will never get to see the miracles. A lot of times, we hear about testimony, we hear about in the sermon, workers, pastors share about, oh, the miracles in Africa, in Dominican Republic, in all those different parts of the world. You need to be there to see it. Otherwise, you will only be listening just as the audience. You need to go there, be there, and see it. But then, in order to go there, you have to deal with the potential threat. You deal with malaria, you deal with yellow fever, you deal with all the inconvenience, you deal with the flying cockroach, you deal with the, I don't know. I don't know what else you need to, for us it's just not, all those not that big of a deal. Flying cockroach, come on, you go to Taiwan, you find it too. I mean, in California, you have it too. Yeah. The first time we went back to Taiwan, my daughter saw the cockroach flying about this big. She's like, I am going back to US. Yeah, but the thing is, yes, out of your genuine heart, you want them to have a good life. But the thing is, your next generation never get the first-hand experience of the power of the Lord. Maybe after a few years, they battle for about 7 years. The whole battle took about 7 years before they can come home. That's not long. But you are away from your family for 7 years, and then you come back. You can only share with them. However, they could have been there. They could have been with you and grow up in the war and learn how to fight. Isn't it? If you brought them along, they were able to live in the camp and sensing the military, eyeing on the preparation, and getting a sense of what warfare is like. That's called training. But out of your good heart, out of your overprotection, you deprive them from all the possibilities. Right? That's number one. Number two, they disappeared. Yes, we know. At the end, we know that the northern kingdom Israel, the southern kingdom Judah, we know they all disappeared. So northern kingdom Israel were annihilated in year 722 by the Assyrian Empire. Southern kingdom disappeared at year 586 by Babylonian kingdom. We knew that, but there's one thing. We know what happened here. We don't know what happened here. Somewhere, sometime along the way, they disappeared. Wipe out. Here, they put up the fight. So, when Assyrian came down, when Babylonian surround them, those are superpowers. You have to remember, like an Assyrian Empire or a Babylonian Empire, all those are world powers. All those are empire. So, but they put up a fight. They were able to put up a fight and resist the enemy because of Jordan River. But they disappeared. Somewhere, the Bible, we cannot even identify when they were taken out. Basically, they got wiped out. What is wipe out? Wipe out is when you are doing your cleaning duty, you take a rock, you wipe, and whatever is on the table disappeared. That's called wipe out. Why? The 2.5 tribes in the history never get to put up the fight, never get to be recorded. They just disappeared. Why? Lacking of natural defense. The plan is nice, right? The plan is good for farming. The plan is good for herding. The plan is beautiful for building your family, making money. but the plan is also perfect for what? For the enemy to besiege and take you down. For there is no defense. Okay? Why did people say Jerusalem is extremely difficult to conquer? That even at the time of David, the Jebusites, they laugh at David. The Jebusites say, David, bring up your army. We will send the blind man, the crippled man. We just put the blind man, the crippled man, and you cannot take the city. Why? Location. Jerusalem is on the high hill. So anyone who fight against Jerusalem need to lean upwards. Lean upwards. So it's much more difficult. And because there's only one direction that you can go up. So that's why this location is everything. Okay, in the old days, in the warfare, location is everything. So you make the choice for the near future. Good place, more roomy, fertile land, good for the family, good for the herd, good for the culture, good for planning, good for everything. Oh yeah, good for invasion too, for there's no protection. What happened to Lot? We all know that Abraham and Lot, they picked the land. Lot also picked the land east of Jordan. Now this is the land that Lot selected. It was known as the plain of Jordan, like the land of Egypt, like the garden of God, isn't it? But when Lot picked the land, it was meant for a better family life. It was meant for better future. It was not meant for Sodom and Gomorrah. He made a very simple decision. This is good for my career. This is good for my family. The only thing he did not know is, not long after that, fire came down from heaven and burned the land. That the beautiful well-watered land turned into a burning furnace. Remember one thing. As you grow, you will make more and more important decisions in your life. Now, perhaps school. Then, perhaps major. After that, whether you should go to grad school or not. Then career. Then family. Where are you going to move? Where are you going to live? Where you will find a job? All those are crucial decisions. But make sure that when you make those decisions, calculation for the ideal choice is not a wrong thing, but make sure that you include God into the formula. Perfect location. However, not so perfect for the future generation. If you are giving an offer, one day when you graduate, you find a job and they give you an offer, perfect offer, great location. The only thing is there's no church around. At this time, you factor in all the, you include all the factors. You factor in all the possibilities. And then you ask yourself, what do you want? Because you have to remember your choice. Your choice not impact only yourself, but it could influence you, your family, your spouse, your children, your future generations. It make a great, we call that ripple effect. So it's never about, it's not just about you. Even, even just NYTS. For you to come here, you think that it's just a seminar. You think that it's just a choice that you make in your life. For you to decide to come here, for you to decide to have a strong prayer, for you to decide that I must find God in this NYTS, all those decisions is not just about you. Maybe 20 years later, you look back and you are able to say, because of 2022 NYTS, I decide I will not go home until I touch God. That's why I am at where I am today. It's not just a seminar. And it's not just another prayer. You never know. Maybe it's one prayer, one decision that changed your entire life. Like them. They made the decision and they caused the potential of the future generation. Lot made the decision and he ruined everything that he owned. You are making a decision. And I hope the decision that you made today, that you are able to turn around many years down the road when you are actively serving in the church with your spouse. You are able to turn around, look at the decision that you made today and say, thank God. Let's all kneel down and pray.